I really love that they had you come in. That's so important. It should be a part of every time that we do one of those trips.
Absolutely.
Have a debrief. Let's talk about what worked and what didn't work. You can't move forward if you don't know what's not working. You can't fix it. So, all right, Chelsea.
Yeah, and going off that, I agree. I think some of my favorite travel experiences working with different DMOs is after the fact, when they're genuinely interested in hearing my feedback and me knowing like I could share something didn't go as great as I had hoped, but that they're listening and willing to make changes always goes a long way. But I'll share my favorite travel experience, and I'm going to give my friends at Wheel the World a shameless plug. So this year, I went to Costa Rica with them. Costa Rica has been a bucket list item for me, and from what just you see online, and my aunt is a huge traveler, what she's told me about Costa Rica, I just didn't know if it was in the cards for me to go. But they planned everything, and it was a group trip. I was on my mobility scooter. There was like 3 other wheelchair users there, and everything from transportation to resorts to seeing a volcano, getting into an accessible hot spring, a natural one. It was just such an incredible experience, and especially not having to do all of the planning, which if you are someone with a disability, you know that planning a trip is usually the hardest part because you need to do so much research beforehand and figuring out even the smallest of things, like can I get into a restaurant, or is there like a tiny step that gets in the way? So the trip beyond Costa Rica being so beautiful as a country, just overall every part of it was so much fun and seamless. So
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Their Costa Rica trip is, I think, one of their best trips that they even have on the site. It just is an amazing itinerary. If you've not had the chance to look at it, it's a great one.
So I'm a beach and mountain girl, and both of those are like the hardest things to do with a wheelchair.
That's true.
So I think what has stood out to me the most in the trips that we've done actually was in the Adirondacks. Everywhere we go, they present to us a list of things that are accessible and that we can do. But I felt like in that destination, we were the most limitless, where there were camping opportunities and fishing and boating and the walk through the treetops, the restaurants in town, the hotel that we were staying in. I felt like there wasn't anywhere where we had to stop and turn around, we couldn't do it. And that is a rare opportunity for us. So we really enjoyed that. And also, as they were both saying, just the attitude of openness. So when we checked into the hotel and they knew who we were, they said, you know, if you find anything, tell us and we will do our best to change it. And so it was just fantastic the whole time. And we did find things and we were able to give that feedback, and there was never any pushback from that feedback, because sometimes people are offended and you don't want to step on toes, but just to be able to present, okay, well, this is what we experienced. Here are things that we saw that could be improved, and they were very open to that. So
Fabulous. All right, you have another experience for us?
Yes, I do. I'm going to do Egypt about middle of May. So,
Houston was invited to lead trips for a travel company based out of Australia. And they approached us because they said in Queensland, Australia, they had a big reveal for their big inclusive travel. And it was basically just a boardwalk that went down to the beach. And that was it. He said that was the whole accessible program. And he said, you know, we take people skydiving, we take people, you know, swimming in the sharks. And he said, we just want to show that we're more than that. And so we were invited to lead a trip to Egypt. And Houston, did you ride a camel?
yeah, I ride camel all the time. But I'm so hard with that. Like, oh, you can't have any part. So.
Did you ride in a hot air balloon?
Yeah, I just did about it at a time.
So it was an adventure trip, and we did all of the adventures, and it was an incredible experience. And our next trip that we're planning to go, believe it or not, is Costa Rica.
Yay, that's awesome. I love
Yeah,
it.
I go with it all the time. So wait about it. So, yeah.
That's fantastic. I can just picture Houston on a camel, can't you? That's a great image in my head. It's going to make me smile all day. Okay, so let's kind of get into some nitty gritty. Talk about the stats for your platform. How many, you've kind of told us a bit about your viewership. How many viewers are you getting on each platform? How often do you get questions from your viewers about accessibility. How many of them have you seen gone on to take trips because they saw you go?
Yeah, so on Facebook, I have about 60,000 followers, and it's my most engaged platform probably. On Instagram, I'm all at about 38,000, I think, so slowly getting there, but sometimes like I try to post a reel every single day, and so some reels will only get maybe 5,000 views, but then some reels get like 5 million views, so it's like hard to know what they're gonna like, what they don't like, but for me, short content, like 7 to 15 seconds does pretty well usually, much more so than a full like minute video or even a longer video on Facebook that's like 3 to 10 minutes long. So short, quick content is what's performing the best by far. And then I guess I'm also on like TikTok and YouTube, but I'm not great at it, and my follower counts are very dismal compared to the others for now anyway. And then I guess like the hard part about it is really just knowing what my audience is going to want to see. I've kind of learned over the years definitely what they're going to like, what they don't like. For example, I know that they love any kind of beach content because, as Jen was saying, like beaches and outdoor trails are often seen as not accessible. So anytime I post about an accessible beach or an accessible outdoor trail, it tends to perform pretty well, really well with beaches usually. So I was in Panama City a couple weeks ago, had some good beach content going out, which did pretty well. Last year I posted a reel of me. I was just sitting on the beach in a beach wheelchair, and my niece, who's 5, was building up sand at my feet so that I could feel the sand. And it got like 7 million views on Instagram.
Amazing.
So yeah, content like that does really well for me. And
Heartwarming content.
Yeah, any kind of heartwarming content that they can relate to. And I mean, I get messages daily from people on all of my social media platforms, on my website and email, just saying that they were inspired to travel somewhere for the first time, or that they realized a destination was accessible for the first time because of my content. And that's really what like pushes me to keep going at it. I mean, as I was telling people earlier, like I never expected to be in this business. I graduated college with a degree in marketing and advertising and had no idea what to do with my life, and then started the blog just from there being a lack of information online, and I wanted to just create basically a resource where others could go to find out what's accessible. And now here we are 10 years later. So it's been a bit of a whirlwind, but in the best possible way, just to know that you're reaching that audience and hopefully inspiring people to travel for the first time.
Thank you, Corey. All right, Chelsea, tell us about your viewers. I know I see you mostly on Instagram, and I love it. I love following you.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, Instagram is the first platform that really blew up for me. So I think now today I have 350,000, but when Reels first started in 2020, every single video I posted was getting millions and millions of views, which it was not my intention. Every time I'd pick up my phone, I'm like, what is happening here? So I kind of always joke that I have this platform and now I'm working backwards. What do I do with it? I think over the past year or so, I've kind of figured out I'm just sharing my life, and again, to help people understand these conversations don't need to be uncomfortable, it's just a part of life. So while Instagram is my biggest, on TikTok I have 290,000, pretty consistent there. YouTube, I just started this year doing the long form videos, so slowly building that up. But they also rolled out Shorts this year on YouTube, which has made my platform grow like crazy. I'm already at, I think, 118,000 on YouTube,
wow.
Which has been really exciting for me because that's a platform that I was intimidated by for very long. And then also on Facebook, I think that covers it, but essentially everywhere. And similar to Corey, I get messages daily from people who specifically related to travel. I get so many people saying, I never thought I could do X, Y, and Z. I never thought I could go here. I never thought, even things locally in their own city. So I think that for me, definitely motivates me to keep going and keep sharing, because I just didn't realize how many people don't know there's these resources out there and that it's possible. So yeah, my content, you never know with TikTok. Sometimes it could get 5 views, sometimes it can get 1 million, but it's just been really fun and exciting for me to engage with the people that follow me and help share these resources.
Thank you. Jennifer, tell us more about your platform.
So I started Instagram and my blog on the same day because I had this big thing to go big or go home, right? And
I mean, we might as well, right?
Right. And those are still, I mean, my main platform. So between those, I have about 20K unique visitors. And that depends on content. I mean, sometimes I have people reading the blog that I don't know where they come from. You know, you have some specific content that somebody's really into. I'm like, all right, I don't know where all these readers found it, but great, I'm glad they're using it. And similar, I think I connect with a lot of parents who this has shifted the way they're doing life, which is pretty cool because that's generational. I mean, if I'm reaching a mom and that's changing how this kid is growing up and that's changing how they're raising their kids, like this is being passed down. I think one of my favorites actually is a local woman who I met through social media, and it's just changed her whole way of parenting. When she saw my little boy with his disability doing these things, and she slowly started doing more for her daughter, where I think it started with sports, because she saw that my little boy does baseball. She said, we can do sports? I didn't know that we could do sports.
Wow.
Like, of course you can do sports.
We can do anything.
Yeah, and then travel, where they've started to do more vacations, and now she's doing a camp, and all these little things.
I
that
love it.
I feel like the more I share, the more she's like, oh, we can do that too? Okay, how about that?
Oh, I really love that. I talked to somebody one time whose son was brand new to being injured and just saying, oh, are you going to Colorado to go adaptive skiing? She's like, adaptive what? Skiing. You can go skiing. This kid had been an athlete his entire life, and they had no idea the number of resources out there. And it was just so exciting to get to share that. And I know that you feel the same way when you get those readers.
Yeah.
Houston, can you tell us, we know you're on TikTok and Instagram. Tell us about your platforms, how many followers, and
Oh gosh. Well, to be about my Instagram, I do my original Instagram, so I got 10,000 after that. So
Yeah, we're rookies compared to the legends up here on the stage. We've got, I think, 24,000 on Instagram, less than 1,000 on Facebook. I still keep that up just for my mom.
Go on. But yeah, well, you can hear. You guys said that.
That's right.
So,
Yes,
yeah.
Houston's grandma Steph.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
but our biggest platform has been TikTok. We have about 400 plus thousand people, but we've spent a lot of time lately on Twitter, which is now X, because we've discovered a really cool photography community, and there's a lot of photographers involved with that. And our platform is really kind of 3 pillars of travel, advocacy, and photography. And that's worked really well for us because it puts us in a different community almost with each one, but it's amazing how intertwined it all is. And so it's been a really fun group for us.
But good, long time like Evan.
Yeah,
So-
we've been able to travel to different countries to meet photographer friends that we've met that are like National Geographic photographers that mentor Houston, maybe from France or
That's
Italy
amazing.
or even Turkey. And so
And to be Egypt, and the again, you go with the.
yep, we're going to Turkey again in a couple of weeks.
that's awesome. I love it. I love it. Yes.
And sorry, as you were talking about Facebook, that was something that I forgot to mention because I didn't start Facebook right away until I realized that a lot of disability moms haven't made it to Instagram because that was a newer platform. You know, we're
Well,
older, we got a lot of things to juggle, so we haven't made it to Instagram yet.
And one of the
Well,
nice
that's
things
good.
about Facebook is you have the option to have those groups, and so many questions are asked in those groups. So even if you are feeling like Facebook is not relevant, it definitely is, especially in this area, because we can go on there in those groups and ask questions and search, and so it really is a wonderful resource,
And
I
that's
think,
what I was
for
going
us.
to say.
Yeah.
It was big for Facebook, where I actually don't post any original content on Facebook, which I know is terrible. It's all auto-pasted from Instagram when I put it. You know, I click the
Yep.
little tab to have it show up on Facebook
Yeah,
too.
good.
But that's where I build community, and people will connect with that and make a lot of relationships.
Oh,
through Facebook.
absolutely.
And I I'd like to add one more thing about platforms. If you guys are looking at platforms to get into an accessibility community, we have found that Instagram is so supportive, Twitter is so supportive, Facebook is so supportive, TikTok, there's a lot of haters. And it's very interesting. We've been able to turn that around and kind of show, but there's a whole lot of people that are like, he's got Down syndrome. There's no way he took that picture. Or things like that. And so you kind of have to have a thick skin to be on TikTok.
I think you kind of have to have a thick skin to be in any of them, and it's really, you have to fight a lot of things to be successful in that. And no matter which one you're using, you're going to have people who are going to come after you because you did it wrong, and no matter who you are, what you're doing, but that's just kind of the nature of being a public figure, I think. So. Last question that we're going to do, I'm going to kind of bundle a couple because we're getting short on time, probably because your moderator talks too much. But so how do you work specifically with the different DMOs, and what is your range of fees, just to give some of our audience here kind of an idea of what to be looking at if they wanted to ask you to come and work with them?
Yeah, so when I usually work with DMOs, I plan about 6 months out. So I'm currently planning for spring 2024 and later, just because it does take more time to plan an accessible trip, and my schedule for the rest of the year is completely booked. I'm home usually like 5 months a year, so traveling for about 6 to 7 months a year. So I try to plan pretty far out. So if you want me to come for spring or summer next year, now's the time to hit me up. Hopefully, I would love to visit all of your destinations. And then as far as like fees go, typically I'll do a package. So I charge minimum $1,000 per day for the trip. And within that package, I include, usually, depending on the destination, 1 Instagram post per day, 2 Facebook posts per day, 1 blog post for the entire trip. Or if it's a destination, like I worked with Travel or Pure Michigan on a trip a couple years ago, and I visited like 2 or 3 different destinations, so I'll do 1 blog post for each destination. And then if you guys want to buy like rights to photos or videos, we can talk about that separately or in addition to, but on average, it starts from about $1,000 per day with a 5-day minimum, so $5,000 minimum usually.
Fantastic. And we're going to try to move in here pretty quickly so we have a few minutes for questions. Chelsea, tell us about what you do.
Yes, so I am not as organized as Corey whatsoever. I still consider myself fairly new to the travel space, and I'm hoping to continue to grow in this area and would love to work with the many amazing DMOs here. I don't have a specific rate, as Corey does, kind of broken down in that way, because it really has, from the ones I have worked with, it really varies on what their specific needs are. As my different platforms all have amazing engagement, but some are only interested in Instagram, or some are only interested in TikTok. Also having YouTube now with a long form version where I'm able to kind of dive even deeper into what the travel experience is like, while also making shorts and things like that. And then I also have a manager that I work with who kind of helps me with all those specific negotiations, figuring out rates, deliverables, usage, exclusivity, and all of those fun things. So it's hard for me to spit out a specific number, but if anyone is interested in working with me, feel free to connect with me today, send me an email, and I'll figure out if I loop my manager in, but I hope that is helpful. And in the past, I've done, like I said, kind of a variation, what is best for the specific DMO. I worked with Visit Chattanooga earlier this year, did some reels and in-feed posts for them, as well as stories. And then I also have all the other platforms too that have really great engagement.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you. Jennifer.
Yep, what we do is kind of trifold, where it starts as a celebration of places that are accessible, and those are the things that we love to post about. But then also working with the destination for whatever content they need. So whether it's blog content for the website, or building an accessible itinerary, or just creating images for a better representation, because if you're flipping through a magazine for a destination and you don't see anybody that looks like you, you assume you can't do anything there. Range of fees based off of, because we do a range of things. Oh, and also giving feedback when we're there for accessibility. a bigger package where we discount then based off of how much you're doing in a destination.
Fantastic. All right, Houston.
Well, I mean, for that, I know it's part like you guys are, and you good job, guys.
This might not be the right place to say it, but we basically will work for food, and our suitcase is always packed.
So book Houston. I'm kidding. We all have unique perspectives. We all offer unique opportunities. And I think anytime you bring any of us, any one of the variety of people who are here who do the work in this space, you're going to get a different view, you're going to get a different perspective, and it's only going to benefit your community and your travel providers because you're going to see so many different things from each of us. So bring us all out, you know.
Okay, so now, thanks for everyone. We're gonna go through some questions. Maybe the audience want to ask some questions, please.
Hi, and I know that the amount of work that goes into what you do, so I commend you for that because it's kind of like, it's a lifestyle you always have to be on. So if somebody wants to reach out to an influencer at the launch of something and to ask for you to share with your followers, how best to do that, you know, what kind of messaging and how do you make the ask, and what should you expect to spend?
I mean, for me, I would say to include, like, if you have a budget in that first email, because I hate when I get an email and they're like, hey, we want to work with you, and we want you to post this and this and this and this, and they go on and on about the deliverables, but they never mention if they have money, if they have a budget. Like, just get that out of the way from the beginning to make, like, the thread of emails a little bit shorter would be amazing. I get a lot of emails, so if we could just keep that thread down, that would be amazing. So start with the budget. I mean, it would depend on the deliverable. Like, what kind of deliverable do you, like, for one share or? Yeah, I mean, when I do something like that, like for just a company, I mean, if they're just wanting like Instagram stories, then it could be anywhere between like $500 to $1,000 for like 3 frames for an Instagram story. I don't know, what do you charge? I don't know.
That's tough.
Okay, so, sorry.
Oh.
Yes, so maybe.
So for those specific type questions, that's a better time to come and ask each of them individually, and they can work with you on your platform. So if it's a very specific question, plan on talking to them afterwards individually.
I think we'll all be at the consulting room tonight. So
Yes.
They'll all be available in the consulting room tonight. You can sign up for them. So
Yes,
just
please
to
make
go
sure that
outside.
you do
And you can sign
use
up
those
for any of
sign-up
the
sheets.
speakers outside.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll quickly ask this. So I follow half of you and I followed the other half of you today. So it's really exciting to see you all. My name is Erica. I'm from the Oregon coast. Our region has recently started working with influencers like yourselves because you're the ones that should be telling these types of stories. What I'm curious about is for us, the other thing we would love to see from an influencer is where their followers live. So we worked with Kelsey Miller Anderson at the Chronic Explorer. We target British Columbia. Her followers are from British Columbia. But I'm curious with like disability influencers like yourselves, are your followers from where you live? So could you briefly say where you live and where your followers are from?
If somebody else wants to take it.
Let me start this off with people who follow specific niches like this are not from one general location. They tend to be located wherever there's somebody with a disability.
So is there technology available that you can acquire data?
There
on
is.
where they're
Yeah,
following?
on
And
TikTok
you
and
provide that
Instagram.
information.
Yeah, on TikTok and Instagram, you can find, you get the data each month where your followers are from.
And
And like for us, I mean, we're
how
real popular
granular is
right
the
now
data?
in Iran for some reason.
That's bizarre.
And so it varies depending on what you're posting and
for Instagram, have followers.
yeah, that data's available. The age of your followers, the location of your followers.
But I think in general, everybody has a pretty diverse group, right? Because it really does tend to be more based on who our target audience is and not a location.
Yeah, I mean, the majority of my audience is in New York, which is odd considering I live here in Georgia. But yeah, I mean, they vary. They're all over the place.
So I want to get to as many questions as we can. Anyone else have any questions? While we have this group, well, you can ask them later. So just
Yeah.
anyway, this is great. Travelability has hosted all of these influencers, and we're just really happy to help them make a living. So that's what we're trying to do. And just they're great resources for everyone. So anyway, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you so much. And please, once you become like very, very famous, like remember all of us, okay? Yeah.
Thank you
Okay.
guys.